Victor Wembanyama, who is the most impressive young player to come into the NBA in God knows how long, I guess since LeBron James.
Is Wemby now the best player in the world? Best two-way player?
Yeah.
Is he? Jokic is not a defensive player. Is he the best player in the world now if you count all things?
I've said three things about Wemby, Colin, that people have given me pushback on, particularly my co-host Nick Wright on First Things First. But I bet today, I wouldn't be surprised if a ton of people agree with me. Number one, I said when Wembanyama came into the league or before the draft, I said if he's Akeem Olajuwon, that's a disappointment. Oh, I was killed. I was crushed. I bet nowadays everybody's with me on that. Two, I said a few months ago, Colin, I said he is the best player in the world. Oh, he don't even average 30 points a game. Oh, what are you talking about? Look at him now, all right? And three, I said, now he's got a long way to go. But Colin, I said he could be the GOAT. He could make the LeBron Jordan debate for second place, or irrelevant if you want to go that far. He could be that guy if he stays healthy and lives up to his potential. So, yeah, I do think he's the best player in the world. You saw what Gobert did with Jokic, and you see what Wemby is doing to Jokic. He might only score 17 points, but he might have 7 blocks and 15 rebounds and impact the game that way. Or he might have 37 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks and impact the game that way. Like, he's the most versatile player in the league. You saw the pass he did that had Gobert spinning like a top.
Yeah.
He can even pass the ball. So there's nothing really that he can't do.
Listen, all you need to know is this. If LeBron's the best player in the world, ever, Wemby does things already that LeBron can't do. I mean, LeBron can't dominate the calculus defensively like that. He can't literally change an offense. I mean, think how good MJ is. There are things Wemby does Michael couldn't do. I mean, basically, Kobe could do about 90% of Michael, but Michael had bigger hands, had a little bit stronger game. But I mean, most of the time with great players, you see parts of their game that could be duplicated. There are things Wemby does Jokic can't do, Michael can't do, Bird, Duckett can't do. So I think, hey, I was behind you. I'm 3 for 3 on those takes. Nick's probably 0 for 3. I am 3 for 3 on all of them.
Victor Wembanyama, who is the most impressive young player to come into the NBA in God knows how long, I guess since LeBron James. Last night, this is my opinion, Jay Williams, this was his most impressive performance as a pro. When you consider everything that hung in the air and all the different ways this could have gone and all the attention on him and the first real negativity that has surrounded him since he came into the league, for him to answer with his performance, with his attitude, and then that response, a vet response for a young player, I think this is the best night of his young NBA career.
I know often in NBA locker rooms we talk about setting the tone in games, PJ, and you typically can do that in the first quarter. He had 21 and 10 in the first half. And frankly, he's the first player in NBA history as a superstar that makes other superstars look physically outdated. That's what he does. And it's on both sides of the floor. It's his defense, it's his scoring, but also he had 5 assists last night. It's his elite playmaking at 7-5, PJ.
Look at these moves. I mean, PJ, I want your take as a longtime veteran and a guy who was really so imperative in locker rooms and leadership and all of that. Not only the way he responded to all the negativity, because, I mean, there were people out there who said he felt they should have been suspended for this game, but then his answer after the game. What did you think of it all?
As a vet, I love that in my young guy. To see him focus right out the gate, being aggressive, being assertive. His basketball IQ is off the charts. He makes the right play almost every time. But I just love his aggressiveness the entire night in all facets of the game.
Absolutely. And then, Alan, you particularly were noticing, and we showed a little bit of it in there, they were trying to get at him. And they were trying to pick at him as we predicted they would, as we knew they would, and he wasn't having any of it.
Yeah, after the game, he talked about rage baiting that they were doing, the Minnesota Timberwolves were doing in the series, and he said he wasn't going to fall for it anymore. Now, Minnesota's got to do this because, as Jay said, he makes you look very ordinary, and so they get under his skin. But he's saying, no, I'm not about that today. I'm focused. I'm locked in. I want to help my team win. You know, when the plane landed from Minnesota, Gregg Popovich was waiting at the airport. And the first thing he did was find Wembanyama off the plane and had a talk with him. Boy, would you love to know what that conversation was about. That helped him get locked in. Devin Vassell said that Wembanyama told his teammates he was upset about getting thrown out of that game. And what Vassell said was, we need that upset Vic in this game to be locked in, ready to attack from the start. That's literally what happened. This went from an immature moment to a mature moment for a young superstar in a big spot.
You know, whether it was stemming from the flagrant 2 or not, something Devin said at shoot-around this morning was that the Spurs were going to need upset Vic to come out tonight to, get this win. Mitch called it more of a mature Vic. I'm just curious if there's either one of those that you prefer, maybe another word. Just,
I feel like they ain't mutually exclusive, so I'm looking for both.
Mature and angry. Pissed Vic. Why not, man? Good luck. There's no one like him.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you want to see him versus Chet?
Yeah, they hate each other. It's awesome.
You know what I mean? Then they'll throw Hartenstein at him. Then they'll run Lou Dort at him.
Yep.
They're just going to run, if he thinks he's getting beat up in this series.
Right. I like watching the Spurs team play. They're very fun.
And I love this storyline. I mean, Gregg Popovich apparently was the one who met him at the airport. Did you see this video?
I saw Pop at the game last night.
No, Pop showed up at the airport. He greeted Wembanyama when he arrived fresh back from getting ejected from Minnesota.
Nice.
And talking to him. Just standing there, delivering a message.
That's cool.
And then the guy goes out and torches the place. And he was asked after the game what that was about.
I feel like, I'm not going to leak anything he said, obviously, but he maybe wanted to, make a statement or make his talking even more impactful by being there. But he gives feedback and talks to us regularly, throughout series, throughout games. So, as always, when he speaks, everybody listens.
What a secret weapon, huh? Can you imagine? You're 22 years old. Your head might be spinning. I don't know. He seems to obviously have his head properly snapped onto his shoulders, right?
Yeah.
And he comes off the plane, and there's Gregg Popovich, like friggin' Yoda shows up to personally deliver a message to you. This is not going to be a phone conversation. This is not a Zoom. This is not a FaceTime. I'm going to put myself in a car where obviously he doesn't get around very easily, and I'm going to stand there, and you get off the plane, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to say something to you. That's significant. I can't get enough of that. Man, do I miss that guy. But then again, I also wasn't the one with a microphone in my hand trying to get a soundbite out of him every single night.
Good call.
But I miss him. I miss what he has to say about real life, too. My gosh. What a secret weapon that is. And the Timberwolves are, like I said, they've got their hands full here. Hey.
The reaction to Victor Wembanyama not receiving a harsher punishment for elbowing Naz Reid in the throat once again makes me question the ability to think critically by some of you. Comparing the punishment of a different player without context or without comprehensive consideration of every penalty handed down for a similar act is just straight up rage baiting. I saw one pro clutcher refer to Wemby's elbow on Reid as an assault. That is an absolutely correct, accurate description. This is why the description isn't the heinous act that the person using it wanted to be, though. Assaults happen all the time in sports, basketball included, because it is a contact sport. There are all sorts of actions taken in the heat of competition that would not be acceptable to do to someone on the street or in public. But a professional court or field is not a public space. Not just anyone can enter it. And it doesn't follow the rules of decorum in polite society. This is part of the entertainment package. This has been a scourge of sports ever since cameras and microphones became ubiquitous. And that is the word of the day, people meaning present everywhere. And slow motion is used with every highlight. There's an angle with every violent act that is going to look particularly gruesome, and everything is magnified in slow motion. There is a way to make it look way worse than it actually is, and the way we telecast sports in this day and age does a good job of it. So let me explain why an added suspension for Wemby was not warranted. One, he has absolutely no prior history for throwing elbows or any other violent acts. He's not Ron Artest or Draymond Green, both of whom received multi-game suspensions for hitting someone above the shoulders with a hand or elbow. When they received those penalties, they already had established reputations for acts of intimidation or simply losing their cool. Two, he was ejected early in the second quarter with the game very much in the balance. Minnesota leading by 2. It was, for all intents and purposes, a one-game suspension and ultimately swung the likely outcome in the Timberwolves' favor. 3, it's not as if he didn't have cause. He was being swarmed by both Naz and Jaden Daniels, and the Minnesota Timberwolves had made a point of being as physical as possible, pushing the envelope in how they defended, how they played Wemby throughout this series to this point. What impressed me is how Wembanyama reacted to being ejected from the game. When it was announced that he had been assessed a flagrant penalty level 2, he asked veteran Harrison Barnes what that meant. Obviously informed that he had been ejected, Wemby nodded as if he considered it just. But the calmness with which he took it, the way he dapped up his teammates as he headed to the locker room, not only spoke volumes, it did volumes. The message? Nothing changes. You guys are capable of still getting this game, which they nearly did, and we're still completely capable of winning this series, which they are on the verge of doing. We often talk about the need to act as if you've been somewhere or done something before, not to look like a newbie or a neophyte. You'd never know that this is Wemby's first taste of the playoffs. You get moments of him making certain mistakes, throwing the elbow being one, but not entire games, and not in the clutch. His ability to learn and adjust from game to game, series to series, I'm not sure I've ever seen before. It usually takes a summer of reflection and film watching and future game planning for a player to take the next step. Not Wemby. He's reflecting on the team bus back to the hotel, watching film the next morning, and formulating a new game plan before tip-off. Let's have a shout out to Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson as well, who has shown a poise and composure also unusual for such a young first-time head coach. There were times when Game 5 looked a little wobbly and the announcers were suggesting that the Spurs needed a timeout. Mitch had a better grasp on his team than they did, along with the understanding that Minnesota is an older team with far less depth, and that calling a timeout might actually be doing them a favor, that their run could fizzle of its own accord simply out of fatigue and the inability to keep playing with the same energy at both ends.